No. No, 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 no. Why? Why did you do that? Why? No. I'm done saving you.
Let's do this. Hey, what's up, guys? This is RNCRT264, and I wanted to. Now, I know, the title of my video is extremely bold, calling Bao a fake friend. So, let's get right into her Google Doc. Oh, this is Bao. I only speak with Nana. Says she read the public and direct my name. Da, 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 da. Oh, refrain from turning this into a witch hunt. Really, Bao? You literally made a fucking Google Doc to quote unquote expose your friend. That doesn't count as a fucking witch hunt? Oh, remind we're just humans at the end of the day. How about you tell that to yourself? You know, I think it's interesting that she says basically what Nano says right here, that Sinder and Redacted are the same person. Trust me, bro, I worked with him for years. I digress. And here, you know, she's going over the, what was it? Talking about her model getting canceled. I find it interesting that the date on the screenshot right here is of 2025. So she's using information from 2025 to explain why her model got canceled in 2024. So, let's see. And Nano list right here quite literally says, so Red says, you know, this is talking about the exclusivity deal that didn't go through. He's saying, well, we can pay you X amount of money, da, 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 don't work about it, da, 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 da. And he says right here, so, you know, don't work with Bao or at all models ever again. And what does Nano say at the end of this? It do be fair. It do be fair. Right there. Right there. And I love the fact that these screenshots are taken out of order. So this one's 9:05. This one's 8:30. Thought I'd point this out. This screenshot right here that has been used, and this is the unedited screenshot. So this has right here, this is all secret talk because this is a private DM. And I want you know people to really think critically about this right here. Does this come off as Red saying that he hates Bao, or does this come off as Red is frustrated about the editor thing? And he doesn't know what's going on with Saccamore and the editor thing. It turns out Saccamore really did just want to work on his own projects. But Red didn't know that. Nobody reached out to Red and told him that. You know, he just assumed that, you know, Bao, you know, told him never to work with Redacted and Sinder again. He had no idea. Red had no idea what was actually going on. So, is this slander? No. In my opinion, this isn't slander. This is just him being frustrated. Moving on. And man, that's annoying. Oh, she has a way of guilt-tripping people to get her way? You know what, Redacted? You're absolutely right in my opinion. So, I find it interesting that all these screenshots right here are for 2025. And this is her evidence for something that got canceled in 2024. I think like 6 months ago. By the time, you know, this conversation was happening. I think roughly. So she's using evidence from 2025. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, I love this right here. So, you know, going off with his friend Savage. I find it ironic. Friends do not use the private opportunities they have from being close to each other to manipulate others. You know, Bao, like having access to private screenshots because Nano likes you and doesn't like Sinder anymore. You know that privilege of having the ability to use private screenshots to destroy somebody's life. That's not what a real friend does. Then why the fuck did you do it? Oh, and I love this right here. So this is basically saying, you know, the reasons why, you know, and Red canceled my model. This is the quote-unquote damning piece of information they have against Red. Did you cancel models? Nowhere in the screenshot does it say, yes, Nano, please cancel the screenshot. There's cancel the model that was in progress. Did you cancel models? It doesn't say, yes, please cancel the models. It asks, did you cancel models? And Nano says, I did not. You know, I'll give her the design as a free apology gift. You know, and you can make the argument what Reacted said was, you shouldn't be, she has many connections, she'll find someone else super fast. Now, how does that come off? It's in text. We have no idea. Did he say that as, it's not that big of a deal, she should be able to find someone else? Or did he say, it's not that big of a deal, she can find someone else? You know how the difference in my tone, you can definitely tell? You know, one is, it's not that big of a deal, and the other thing is a big of a deal. You know what I mean? This is ridiculous. More screenshots of him encouraging to cancel. Don't only sell yourself short. I'm sure she'll be fine taking others. Start shit. You know, I wouldn't offer to free me at half price if she starts shit. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. You know? I digress. Well, they had no idea. Again, this is about the YouTube editor thing. And again, yeah, I love the fact that she doesn't even make mention of what Nano fucking said. Yeah, you're right. Anyways, I'm just talking about the YouTube editor. Red had no idea. Red had no idea what was going on. So it's not fair to, in my opinion, that's not fair to use it again. He had no idea what was going on in the background of Sacramore, and he just didn't. Man, talking about getting him with light mode. Yeah, it's kind of messed up that he said, the song flopped. But, again, this is from a private DM. Oh man, these screenshots are really taken out of order. Keep in mind the timestamp of some of these are just going to be, chronologically they're all off. Again, did the songs flop? No, not really. No, the songs did not flop. So, I mean, compared to Sinder's songs, they didn't look, as good as that. But again, one of the songs that Sinder did kind of got into some hot water, which was dumb. But we'll move past that. It's kind of messed up that he said that, but you should be free. You should have at least a little bit of, safety that you're in a private DM and be able to, express your feelings and frustrations to people. Now, is this, professional? No, not really, no. But it's a private DM, with who I would assume Red thought was a friend. So, sometimes you get a little unprofessional. Now, should he have said that? Probably not, but it's not that big of a deal. Saying, haha, your song flopped when it really didn't. Why would that even bother you? I think all the songs got at least 500,000 views. And that's a lot of views. I don't get it. Like, obviously that's not true, so why be offended by it, Like, move on. It's the whole editor thing. I love the fact that there's not a single screenshot that even has Sinder anywhere. Cinder's been hit with, by a name, but there's not a single screenshot that even has Sinder anywhere. Oh, and I love that line. This is not what friends do. Friends do not sabotage each other out of business opportunities. Friends do not spread lies or selfish narratives. Friends do not use private information they get from the privilege of being close friends to manipulate others. Bao, you're a fucking cunt. That is, you right there. You did that. You did that exact fucking thing. You did this not because, Sinder actually hurt you. You didn't do this because Red hurt you. You did this because you saw a business opportunity to scrap the fucking competition, and I have the fucking balls to call your ass out on it. I'm not a fucking mindless drone. And if any babble buddy wants to cry at me in the fucking comment section, go for it. Because at the end of the day, your Oshi's still here. Bao is still here. Where's Sinder? I have no idea. I really miss her. And then I love this at the very fucking end. Why didn't we solve this privately? Because my feelings were hurt. Right here. Our most vulnerable. Darkest moment. Oh, do you think Cinder's just, some unemotional drone? You don't think Cinder's dealing with any of this emotionally? At all? I have asked the community from spreading hateful speculations. Then why did you make a Google Doc? Because you knew what this would do to her. You knew exactly what this would do to her. Don't spread hate. How about you tell that to fucking Shy Lily then, you dumbass bitch? No, yeah. Tell that to Shy Lily. Tell that to Shy Lily. Shy Lily was the one who sent the hate. In my opinion, I think Bao was worse than Shy Lily. Because Shy Lily doesn't hide her cruelty. She doesn't hide her meanness. She just flat out says, Cinder, she said what she said about Cinder. I won't repeat what she said. But basically, it's full of lies and accusations and total bullshit. Shy Lily had no issue with scrapping the competition. She was probably completely on board with it because she didn't care. She was jealous of Cinder. And so are you, Bao. You're also jealous of Cinder. Because Cinder, with less subscribers, had a stronger fan base that actually cared about her. And you had to play every dirty trick in the book. Because this could have been solved privately. If you had an issue with Cinder's manager, you could have easily solved this privately. Did he even try to reach out? I'll answer my own question. No, obviously you did not. You did not reach out to Cinder. And when Cinder and Red tried to reach out to Nanos, Shy Lily straight up said, "Oh yeah, Nanos is a really cool person because she blocked him." Y'all are a bunch of emotionally stunted fucking teenagers. This is embarrassing. Y'all are adults. And you ruined somebody's life. Now, I want to take a look at another document to further prove my point. Alright, this is... I really hope I want to pronounce this. I pre-apologize for butchering this. This is Yazuv VF. So this is the guy. He actually made a full legal document discussing the situation and how this is in his opinion, a defamation by implication case that Cinder could potentially win. This document is the crash out document, going over everything. And man, he does an amazing job. I highly recommend it. Somehow, I'll figure out a way to link this in the comment section. I'm going to focus on the section where he discusses Bao. Bao Part 1 Crybaby. Masterclass in hypocrisy and starchcraft. Bao wants to eat her cake, cry on it, weaponize it, and then she'll never bake it in the first place. And, you can kind of read it for yourself. I'm just hurt, and here's everything you think. She chose to insert herself into this drama. This is not directly at her. She cries foul play when people challenge her for it. Claim, I only wanted to address, the messages involving me. Reality, you commented on everything from Cinder's behavior to her mental health, her character, and relationships. And she, went on the video and said, well, I didn't want to bring up the relationship, and, I'll just play it for, in a second.
I was told to put in my Google Doc the fact that you had a significant other, and no matter how many people told me to put it in, and how stupid I would be to not put it in, I could not bring myself to put it in, because I knew what that would do to your reputation.
But you knew what the documents would do to her career, and you did it fucking anyways. I digress. I didn't want this to be a witch hunt, which is also something I pointed out. You dropped a Nano you posted your document after Nano, within minutes. Not even within an hour, within minutes. You knew the community was primed for blood, and you served them second course. If you wanted to protect someone, you wouldn't have gone this far and made it private. Instead, you made it viral. We tried to handle it privately. You chose to go public. You chose to redact names. You chose to validate Nano's leaks with your own slop story. If you really wanted it private, the only person stopping it was you. And when Bao says many people wanted me, many people told me I'd be stupid if I didn't include Cinder and Red's relationship, that is quite literally people pressuring you into doing something to hurt somebody. You're telling me that those many people had no issue with hurting Sinder, and you didn't see that as a fucking red flag? Oh yeah, because you had no issue hurting your friend. How dare you get onto the internet and say, oh, well, you know, just... Fuck off, Bao. Fuck off. Anyway, I shall continue to read. This isn't a witch hunt. Then why are you swinging the broom like a battle axe? You know. Bao was not a bystander. She was a producer, director, and the main character in a weaponized sob story and twisted the public sentiment, ensuring Sinder had no voice in her defense. Yeah. You want receipts? Let's talk about Bao's stream where he's supposed to explain her side of the story. Crocodile cried on cue, voice trembling. Yeah, watching that, you know, that clip of her saying, that is so fake, that is such fake crying. Like, if you compare that to Tricky's VOD, when Tricky's all messed up, Tricky couldn't even, like, stream properly. She did the whole thing audio only, because she just emotionally couldn't handle it, and that genuinely felt like pure pain. I could sense it. With Bao, it just didn't feel authentic at all. It just didn't. Ugh. I didn't want this to go public. Then why the hell did you press go live, Bao? Why didn't you DM, you know, please give us some privacy? You know, why didn't you shut this whole thing down? Why didn't you, Bao? Yeah, why didn't you? Why did you hurt your friend? Because you need emotional leverage to protect your image while you torch someone else. I wasn't involved in anything behind the scenes. You fucking liar. You literally shared your schedule on me. You know, this guy Sinder's used to, you know, editor and saying your words. I didn't even know what was happening. Truth, you were part of it. It is very clear you were part of it with many people. How many people? I have no idea. It could have been a bunch of people. And it probably was. I believe it was a group chat with everybody who attacked Sinder. And Buff Pup. And Cottontail. And I believe it was a huge group. But you know who I didn't think it included? Don't think it included, you know, Numi. I don't think it included Yuzu, Vienna, or Tricky. Because they look like all four of them were blindsided by all of this. And that's why it took them a little while to actually make videos discussing the subject. And all four of them were not cruel towards Sinder. I'm not trying to cancel her. You posted your own takedown, your own meltdown, right after Nano's doc. If you weren't trying to cancel her, why did you, post the peak of the outrage? You stood in the middle of the, firing squad and whispered, "She hurt me," knowing the guns were already loaded. And, goes on to say, this isn't the first time she's done something like this. She says she wants to keep things privately, then goes public. She said she wants to avoid drama and then post right away on string. She didn't know anything. Her receipts say otherwise. This is not an accident. This is, emotional control, masquerading as emotional honesty. This was never about being honest. Ugh. And this, this thing right here, which is also something somebody else commented on in one of my videos, that, Bao and Sinder were never friends to begin with. And, I'll bring up that screenshot right now. And they're not lying. Friends don't do this to each other. Now, I personally don't think Bao's a victim in all of this, because she has over 1 million subscribers now. And all the love and all the love from all these mindless, thoughtless drones who don't want to think critically about something. Her own words betray her. Sometimes it feels in a transaction of mutual benefit. That's how Bao defines friendship when the mask slips. Not trust, not loyalty, mutual benefit. What kind of friends, sees their, relationship as a deal, leaks private information, participates in airing out former Cinder's mental issues, and sobs to her fan base that she was the one betrayed? She doesn't protect her friends. She narrates their collapse. Friendships with Bao are only safe when, useful and quiet. And the second she sees you inconvenient, your content, your context, you're canceled. Let's make something very clear. Bao isn't evil. She's not a master mind of some diabolical. She's worse. She's a coward who wants to look like a hero. She said sometimes friends are transactions of mutual benefit. That's not a quote. That's her worldview. It's the quiet part said loud. Benefit of that friendships are not cursing, emotional leverage, and a tool. It's branding. Claims she didn't want to go public. Went live in thousands of people. Claims she, spoke about students' fault. Then gave full commentary on the events outside her scope. She claimed this isn't when it dropped tear-soaked monologues after a public dump. This is a mistake. This is framing. This is influence to create a story. Then backing away. Let's line things up. Bao has a history with going public with private grievances. She's repeated cry on screen and criticism with sometimes legitimate, sometimes self-inflicted. Her response to Cinder's, is she amplified the outrage without taking any responsibility for her. Her Twitch and YouTube content, no genuine effort to clarify or apologize. Only say point. She directly benefited from this drama with no emotional support and refrained from fans who never questioned her story. Never questioned her story. Meanwhile, Sinder got silenced. Sinder got death threats. Sinder got erased. And you sure as hell don't get to call what you did healing. I want to focus on this for a little while. Sinder got silenced. She did. Sinder got death threats. She did. Reading the comments on most of her YouTube videos that she's posted, especially her most recent, the last video she posted, the amount of things people have said about her turn my stomach. They act like Sinder is worse than Hitler. I'm being dead fucking serious. They act like Cinder's the worst. When in reality, there are even if the accusations were true, which they're clearly not, in my opinion, Sinder didn't even deserve any of this. I hate to say this, but manipulation is not illegal. Illegally gambling, like Mr. Beast, is. Filming a dead body in the woods is. Well, maybe not, but it should be. It should be. And Logan Paul and Mr. Beast have millions of subscribers. Filming in place without permission, Mr. Beast. I hope Bao's happy with what she did. Because at the end of the day, Sinder got silenced, Sinder got death threats, and Sinder got erased. Sinder has been gone for months. Months. When all this originally dropped, I thought, whatever, it's not that big of a deal. I'm sure it's just some, drama. It'll be over within a couple of weeks. It's been 3 months. And my favorite VTuber, the VTuber that got me through October and December, got me through my truck breaking down, got me through losing friends because they were all growing up and I really wasn't, kinda. She was there. She was able to make my days better, brighter. And that video where Sinder and Bao made the little clay things meant a lot to me. I was like, oh, that would be kind of fun as something to do with a friend. Bao never saw Sinder as a friend. Bao saw Sinder as an opportunity. Just business. And she had no issue with hurting Sinder. She had no issue with destroying somebody's life. She claimed she did, but she really didn't care. She really didn't give a fuck about Sinder. Sinder cared so much about her friends. And Bao went and did this to Sinder, knowing exactly what it would do. I would never hurt my friends like this. And you know what's the worst part? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I shine a light on this. Nobody wants to believe me, because I'm telling the truth. And Cinder's gone. It doesn't matter if I wrap myself up in her merchandise. She's gone. And she might not come back. I hope Bao's happy with what she did. I really do. But she is so fucking cruel. Worse than Shy Lily. Worse than Nano. Worse than anyone else that went after Sinder. Because when Bao had the opportunity to be an adult and stop this, she didn't. She had no issue hurting somebody. And you could argue this video is a hit piece against Bao, and you know what? It kind of is. You know, and I don't want Bao canceled. I want Bao to realize the error of her ways and apologize to Sinder publicly. Not privately, publicly, for this fucking smear campaign against somebody who, at the end of the day, if it even was true, which clearly, based on the evidence I've already provided, isn't, even if Cinder somehow convinced Nano to cancel that model, it's not going to stop Bao from streaming. It clearly didn't. Even if it was true, if the accusations were even true, Cinder didn't even do anything criminal, and Cinder was treated like one. I want to scroll all the way down to this one last thing that I want to make mention of, then I'll wrap up this video. I wrote all of this not to save Cinder, but to save what's left of you and this fucked up community. If you're still here asking yourself, who did you become while you weren't paying attention? When the voices got loud, when the tears started falling, when the hashtags begun to burn, were you thinking or just following? Because injustice doesn't need your voice, just your indifference. At the very start of this entire thing, I was on Cinder's side. I was told I was 100% okay with the knowledge knowing that Cinder hurt somebody. I was okay with knowing that she hurt her friends. Because as an Eagle Scout, and as somebody who's also made plenty of mistakes, I should know, especially while driving. People make mistakes. People do dumb things. People do things unintentionally and intentionally. Sometimes they don't see the error of their ways until it's right in front of their face. And I was 100% okay with knowing Cinder hurt people. But the more and more that I delve into the situation, it is crystal clear to me. Cinder didn't do anything to deserve this. Yes, she probably should have been paying more attention to what her manager was saying. Yes, Red probably should have been more professional. Both of these things could have been solved in private. But the fact that they brought this out to the public eye to smear her and to hurt her, this was never about healing. This was about scrapping the competition. This was about destroying somebody's, not career, life. Cinder has lost everything. The only thing she still has is the handful of Pyro Pups that are still here and still waiting for her to come back. And gamer subs. And even that one may or may not be debatable. I don't know exactly what's going to happen with that. I assume gamer subs is going to hold on to Cinder, and I hope they will. I really do. She owns 10% of the company, and that's a lot, of a company to own. So I don't think Pyro Power or her gamer subs thing's going anywhere. But besides that, she's lost all of her friends, pretty much. She's lost her public reputation, and all she has left are her loyal Pyro Pups. And we just want to make sure she's okay. When she posted that Discord message, I legitimately cried. I was like, yes, she's alive. And when I saw that donation she made, you could have wiped the smile off my face for the rest of the day. I was like, yes, she's okay. And I find it funny. Did Bao donate to that? Because I don't see Bao's name anywhere near Cinder's. I don't see a donation from Bao. He talks all this talk. Where's her donation? Well, maybe she was just anonymous. Well, Cinder had the balls to say who she was and donated over $6,000 to a charity. Where's Bao's donation? Where's Silverveil's donation? Where's Spite's donation? Where's Nano's donation? I don't see it anywhere. Cinder is such a genuine individual. She was okay with opening about, her anxiety and stuff. Bao would never do something like that unless, she was able to gain something. This whole situation is absolutely disgusting. And that's why I've wanted to talk about it, because unlike Star Wars, unlike Halo, but regardless of how fun it is to talk about those subjects, at the end of the day, they're just fictional franchises. it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. And this does. And I know I've been talking about this a long time, and I just, yeah, it has been a long time. At the end of this, my goal is to shine a light on the truth. To hope, to see for the slightest hope that maybe Bao will realize what she did, but I don't think she ever will. I think Bao will continue to play the sympathy card until she's old and a sphincter, surrounded by her cats when she's 80 years old, alone. Sinder, when Sinder returns, she's going to be surrounded by her loving pyro pups that are going to give her a bunch of hugs, including me. And you know what? I'm glad all of this happened to Sinder, because all the worst human beings in her life are now gone. People who never valued her are gone from her life. And hopefully, they'll never come back. I hope Sinder takes this case and takes a look into legal things with this case and sues for defamation. Because it'd be really fun to watch her win. And I feel like it'd be a really easy and close case. And then see I think Cinder, if she were to just mention that, just to watch the chaos unfold, that would be fun. Or if Cinder mentioned suicidal thoughts, then watch how the cannons turn on each other. Oh man, it would be fun to watch Cinder drop both of those, and then talk about legal and self-harm. Oh man, how the guns would turn on each other. If by any chance, Cinder ever sees this, my goal in all of this is just to help Cinder. It's just to tell her that there are fans who care about her. That's my ultimate goal. And hopefully somewhere out in this world, she knows that. That's why I make these videos. Not for clout. Not because, oh, look at me, I'm cool. It's to shine the truth and to find the truth. To not be satisfied with comfortable lies. I want to be satisfied by the uncomfortable truth. This is a long one. And as you can see, it's 3 in the morning, so, Hey, Ryan, what you do at 3 in the morning? YouTube videos. So, anyways. This is Ryan SRC264, and to my fellow Pyro Pups who are probably, not feeling too great after watching this video. There's a reason we're all still here. Or there's a reason that 3 months later we're still talking about this like it was just yesterday. Because we care about Cinder. We have that ability to love somebody so much that we're willing to do this kind of stuff. Never forget that. That's why we're here. It's not for us. It's for Cinder. Try not to forget that, guys. I miss her too. That's why we gotta come together. We're strong together. So, anyways, guys, stay strong. We're doing this for Cinder. Peace. Have a great day.